I'll be your hostess for the evening. Hostess with the mostest.
Yeah.
You can think about that later. So my name's Nikki. Nikki Take. Miss Nikki Take or Mistake. I'm not the only mistake. When I stood up, a couple of the boys thought they might get lucky tonight. That's a mistake. Now they realise I'm a boy, one of them still does. And every time I do a gig, there's always somebody at the end, waiting, when we've finished, going, I'm not gay, but... Honestly, hitting on a drag queen, that's gay. Get over it. Or see me about 11 o'clock and I'll get over you, whichever. So let me just give you a little health warning. If you're easily offended, you might be in the wrong place. So I apologise in advance for those of you. Are there any Christians in? Good, that makes things a lot easier. Because my show at the Fringe this year was called God Hates Me, I'm Trans, and we're going to do a bit of that show later on, which tends to offend all those people that didn't go to the Fringe, because that would be upsetting. So I'm a professional drag queen, which means I can keep a straight face while some of you are slipping in and out at the back. I'm just getting your tone for you, ladies and gentlemen. What I'm trying to say is, like, if you're looking so shocked. Really, this is mild. Wait till the last set. What I'm trying to say is, if you feel the need to get a drink whilst I'm talking, feel free. It won't put me off much. I'm obviously the T in LGBT. I'm looking at this as the very white, straight, undiverse audience. So maybe I better fucking explain what LGBT is. So L is for lesbian, right? G is for gay, B is for bisexual, and T is for fucking fantastic.
No, Tim! That's for
Tim, yes, T is for Tim. More on that one later. So the interesting thing I've done as a new member to the LGBT community, because I've only been doing this a few years, I've got a couple of observations. And normally in a big room, normally when I've got a couple hundred people, I'll say anybody else in the community, and people go, woo, because there's always one or two. But I strongly suspect I'm getting nothing here. So honorary members don't count. But I do like to remind people you're never more than 10 feet from a cross-dresser.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not the only one that's played around a golf wearing stockings, am I? Underneath my trousers. Or maybe it is just me. Okay, there you go. So, two observations then. The LGBT community doesn't seem to me to be the right word. I think the right word should be family. Right, because it's not really a community, it's sort of like warring fractions. They only ever play nice when mummy and daddy are in the house, and then we behave ourselves and all be friendly. So that's my second observation is who named them? I mean, surely LGBT is an ordered list for straight alpha males, isn't it? Like, they're like L's, because, you know, lesbians, that's good, because they're all straight males like to watch porn, but they don't want to watch straight porn because it involves looking at a naked member and making them feel very inadequate. So they quite like lesbians, they're okay, socially acceptable now. And then you get the G's, right? Well, for most straight boys, that feels like people taking themselves out of the market. You know, more totty for us. So gays are okay now. A little bit worried about bisexuals though, aren't you boys? Because it feels a little bit like you gay boys coming over here stealing our women. And then you really like people who can make their minds up about who they want to sleep with, so you're really upset with people like me because we can't make our mind up what we want to wear. But I think it's round the wrong way. See, I think it is an ordered list, but it's an ordered list for social skills, okay? And so the straight white males are all at the bottom because they've got no social skills. Slightly above them are the lesbians because they've got really, really good social skills if you're lesbian. I don't really want to talk to anybody else. Then you get the G's. Yeah, that's true, isn't it? Yeah, you know if you're lesbians, they're good. Talk to me later. So then you get the G's, right? Now the gay boys, they're just all hedonistic, real party animals, right? So they've got quite good social skills, so kind of party animals. Right, then you got the B's. Well, you know about the bisexuals, they've got really fucking good social skills because they're hunting us all. And that puts the T's at the top because, like I said, we're just fabulous. There you go. So I always start my sessions. I'm a corporate trainer and I teach people how to sell things. And I always start my session with I'm the T in LGBT, so that I can then say if you have a problem with that, then the clue is in the language. You have the problem with that. Maybe you should move to North Carolina. Learn to cut eye holes in pillowcases and make crosses that don't fall over when you burn them because you're a fucking dickhead. And you'd be surprised the number of IBM clients who sit there like, oh, did she just say fuck? Yes, and I do sometimes, so there you go. So I have a softer version for them, but honestly, you know, if you're feeling uncomfortable with me, good. But the world's moved on and you probably need to as well. I've discovered a few things since I started doing this. One of them is that... sorry, what was that? Now. It's too early in the evening. You mark yourself out as a target now, it's going to be a long night. Just saying. Don't get mad, get even. That's our family motto. So anyway, I was saying that the difference, a couple of things that I've noticed is that you know, I get hit on by men quite a lot, I have a stock reply now. You know, when they come up to me and go, you know, would you? I steal a line out of My Fair Lady, and I look at them and go, I'm not sure underlady you think I am. And most of the time I get a laugh. Okay, but I was outside this club called Madame Jojo's in London, and this good-looking black guy came up to me and went, you know, excuse me, miss, and I gave you £500. Would you come and spend the night in the hotel? And I leant forward and went, I'm not sure underlady you think I am. And instead of laughing, he took a step back and went, oh, 650 quid. So I said, well, just come back when you can add a zero, mate. And he disappeared. And then my girlfriend turned to me and said, you can't do that, Nicky. I said, why not? She said, what are you going to do if he comes back with £6,500? I was like, go shopping. I'm not gay, but come on. £6,500 for 7 minutes work. Do you know how much that is an hour? That's more than even Beyonce gets. We'll have some of that. So I'm not the most famous British tranny, so none of the kids are going to get any of these because, you know, there you go. But you'll all remember the three most famous British trannies. Anyone remember Danny LaRue?
Oh, yeah.
Yes. How about from my hometown in Birkenhead, Lily Savage? Yeah, you all know him as Paul O'Grady, but he used to look fabulous and now he just looks old. But the most famous British tranny of all time, Margaret Thatcher. Oh, you know who that one is, don't you? Come on, don't tell me you didn't look at her and think, oh, she's got balls under that. So I told that joke in America. It's nice of you to laugh, but I was in a comedy club called Catskills Comedy Club in Fort Lauderdale. Bizarrely, they said, oh, you can host because they were running RuPaul's Drag Race, and so hosting means you do lots of little, like I'm doing 3 sets today, but I was doing lots of little sets, like up and down, like a pair of prostitutes' knickers, you know, that sort of thing. And I'm on stage and I tell that joke, and there's not a laugh, like nothing. And I look around and think, oh God, you know, it must be, like Churchill famously said, we, us and America, 2 nations divided by a common language. And so it just must be that they don't understand the references. So I told the joke again in American. 3 famous American trannies. Number 1, Desire. Now you may not remember Desire, but she was in a film called Hairspray. Okay, bit of an activist, quite famous in the trans community. Then the most famous tranny in the world, the richest drag queen in the world, RuPaul. Yeah, she's worth $10 million. $10 million for wearing a dress. Like, I did this for a curly whirly and 10 quid. That's it today, a round of golf. Yeah, more of that later. So there's the 2, so Desire and then RuPaul, but the most famous American tranny, Hillary Clinton. Oh, look, like you're shocked. I'll just be even-handed then. I was performing in Minneapolis on the day of the inauguration, and I'm the only British comedian, and there's 4 Americans, and nobody tells a Trump joke, like not one. And I was like, how do you do that? How do you stand in a comedy club on the inauguration and not have a gag? And so I stood up in my second set. I said, look, I've got to tell you a joke about Trump, and it's that Trump in the UK is the word for fart. And so I think it's really interesting that we have the same definition of this word both sides of the Atlantic, hot air coming out of an arsehole. And they did, well, half the room laughed. Half the room looked like they wanted to kill me, which seems to be a common theme in the States at the moment. So this is, I didn't realise this, I've only been doing it a few years, but I didn't realise that this is drag, which is D-R-A-G, dressed as girl, D-R-A-G. I didn't realise that. Okay. Definitely never know. So there you go, drag, dressed as girl. Of course, the opposite of dressed as girl is very fucking drab. How long did that take? Like, this takes 90 minutes, okay? 90 minutes for a 5-minute thrill on stage. It's like You Real Girls, isn't it? 90 minutes to get ready for a 5-minute thrill. Except it's not going to last 5 minutes, is it? Not if since he's been drinking since 5 o'clock. He's never going to do it twice. So you're going to get caught between that, rock and a hard place. If he's been drinking, some of the girls are all the boys are looking a bit worried now, but the girls know what I'm talking about, don't you? Like, if he's been drinking, then it's either going to be over in 2 minutes, or it's never going to be over. Like, all the kids at the table go, what's she talking about? Yeah, unfortunately. It's more sort of we call between a sponge and a soft place, Not a rock and a hard place at all. So there you go. That's drag. And I've worked out that male and female communication is very different, and so we use words differently. And so, for example, when you say no to a man, for some reason they hear maybe or try harder. And so I've got some advice for the women in the room. This is how you say no in man talk. And it's all about getting your body right. It's all about body language. So girls will stand like this with our legs crossed, okay, and kind of drop our shoulders and tilt our head. And this is how a girl stands. And if you do this and go no, then he's going to misread it. So what you need to do is uncross your legs, stand like a boy like this, okay. Right, lift your head up, push your chest out, okay. Close your fist, look him in the eye, and go, fuck off. And they get the idea and fuck off. There you go. So obviously, it's not all men are freaks. I do realise that some of them are okay. It's a small percentage. It's no more than 80-85% of the fuckers. Nobody laughed because it's not a joke. That's worrying. And so. The other thing, I've been trying to explain to my girlfriends that, our brains work differently. And so I have a bit of an analogy to help bridge the gender divide. And it's like this, boys' brains are compartmentalized, right? So when you're a boy and you're thinking about, work, don't talk to them about home, right? Because that's in a separate box, in a separate bucket, right? And they can't kind of confuse these things. Home is in one box, golf is in another box. It's mostly empty. But how many golfers are in the room? I've got a whole golfing set coming up, and if you're not all with it, it's going to, oh, yeah, good, that's it. I like that. So, all these little separate compartments, and they must never touch, and they all have to be separate. A little bit like, girls, the way you organise your underwear drawers. The boys are all looking surprised. So, women typically have 5 different types of underwear, and they're all kept in 5 different boxes or 5 different drawers. Am I right, ladies? Shall I explain them to the boys? So, boys, number 1, girls, bear with me, right? You have your everyday pants, yeah? The most comfy ones, they're probably cotton, bought in a pack of 6, probably from Marks and Spencer's. You've got more of those than anybody else, they're all on the top drawer, yeah? Okay, everyday pants. And then, ladies, we've all got our going out pants, haven't we? Yeah? No, boys. No. What you think of as going out pants are actually called coming home pants, and they left the house in her handbag. What she was wearing when she left the house are called Spanx, and you ain't ever fucking seen them. So you've got your everyday pants, you've got your going out pants, you've got your coming out pants, and then you've got what I like to call your 5-minute knickers. You know those ones that never need washing because you've already had a bath before you put them on? They're probably in the top drawer by the bed, and they never need washing because they're never on long enough. You know the ones? There you go. Juliet's got a few of those. But it's okay. So dandy. And then, of course, so that's the 4 types, okay? And then, of course, you've got your 5th pair of knickers, you know, the ones that only you and your mother are allowed to wash, your period pants, right? And these are all kept in separate drawers, right? And they must never mix. Right, by the way, if you want to know whether your husband or boyfriend is cross-dressing, some of those knickers will be in the wrong place when you get home one day. Do you know if you got hold-ups that don't hold up? It's because his thighs are bigger than yours. Oh, it's happened, has it? And you thought you'd lost weight. No, it's just been at your stockings when you weren't watching. That's the way it works. So, this is my mild set. Okay, I'm looking at a few shocked faces. There you go. So I have, you probably need to know. I'm looking at all the funny faces. I've been doing this now for a couple of years, and I've got used to these funny looks. Right. So all the boys, you're looking at the skirt, and you're thinking, why? And all the girls, you're looking at my contouring and thinking, how? All right? And some of you are going, what's contouring? We need to talk. And boys, after the gig, I'll be in the ladies' room with your girlfriends or your wives, talking about how, and you guys will fucking realise why. And you should be worried, because I'll be in the ladies' room where you're not allowed to come in, and I have the 3 things that women find sexy in a man. Number 1, a sense of humour. I've made most of the women in here laugh, and you're not going to do that until you take your boxer shorts off tonight. Number 1. Number 2, a sense of style. How am I doing, ladies? This is outfit number 2 today. There's another 2 before the end of the evening. And then most importantly, number 3, a black American Express card. Who wants to come shopping? I know Jimmy Choo's come in pairs. There you go. So if you probably need to know if you're if the boy you're dating might be a tranny, and so there's an American comic called Jay Foxworthy. Have you ever heard of him? He has a routine called You Might Be a Redneck, and he has like 100 different gags, and it's something that it goes like, you might be a redneck if your garden furniture used to be the back seat of a Chevy. You might be a redneck. So I call this You Might Be a Tranny, right? So if you're a little bit, think maybe cross dresses when I'm not around, you want to know about it. So this is how you know. So number 1, if your boy has ever been away on a business trip for 1 night, but taken 2 outfits, he might be a tranny. Yeah? Done that? If he took matching shoes, he fucking is a tranny. Okay, number 2 then. If your boy's ever been away on holiday for a week and had to take more than 1 suitcase, he might be a tranny. If both suitcases had to match, he is a tranny. And if he had to buy a bag to bring the shopping home with him, he's not a tranny, he's a drag queen. If he has ever stopped and looked at himself in the mirror, he might be a tranny. If that mirror is on the back of his bedroom door, he is a tranny. And if it's in the ladies' washroom, he's a bloody drag queen. If he has ever been paid a compliment by a complete stranger for the way he's dressed, he might be a tranny. If he has ever dressed in order to get a compliment from a complete stranger, he is a tranny. And if he's ever undressed in order to get a compliment from a complete stranger, he's not a drag queen, he's fucking weird. So the other thing I found is that the difference between a straight boy and a tranny chaser is 4 gin and tonics. Some of the boys that just were given a gin and tonic from me now know what they're for then, don't you? And I've got a few more here which I might have to give out occasionally. So have you finished that one, Tim? Because I think you might have to have this one soon. So I've started working out people's chat-up lines by the number of gin and tonics they've had. So no gin and tonics in them, then they don't often come and talk to me. 1 gin and tonic and they get brave. And they come up and say things like, It's nice here, isn't it? 2 gin and tonics, they get forward. You go, you look very pretty. 3 gin and tonics, right? They get very brave. Can I buy you a drink? But there's something happens to the male brain once it's consumed 4 gin and tonics. Because it goes straight from, can I buy you a drink, to, so can I have a blowjob then? We'll come back to that one later, I think. So I'm going to come back, I'm going to do 2 more sets. They're going to get ruder as we go on, I'm sorry to tell you that, but some of you are looking a bit shocked already, but really, we're going to talk about, much more rude things than this. But in between me and Caitlin's going to do some songs now, hopefully. And then after me, they're going to, I'll do another set, and then the band, we're all sat on the table there, they're going to come back and they're going to do 9 songs, and then I'll wrap the evening up with my rude set. So, I normally when I do comedy clubs, you get given kind of 10 or 15 minutes, and depending on how the audience are, I have to change. So I don't really like doing my rude comedy, so normally I have a little tester joke that I put in at the beginning of the set, and if they laugh, then I know that they're going to do it. And so often I'll start it early on in my set, and I'll say, I'm losing my. I was trying to give you a few minutes to get ready. So I'll move the screen when we're ready. But there you go. So there you go.
It's the hardest crowd you've ever played for, Nicky. We love you.
We are going to give you some more alcohol. So whilst Caitlin is singing, please come to the bar and yes, drink your gin and tonics.
Hey.
So my TV joke is I say, look, me and TV got a lot in common. Do you understand that TV is a play on words, but it's not television, it's transvestite. But me and television got a lot in common because we both like to be the centre of attention, especially when we're turned on. But the similarities end there because this TV doesn't suck. Sorry, boys. There you go. We'll come back to the TV jokes later. For those of you who... I'm just trying to gauge how rude I can be this early on.
Rude! Go for it!
We are on a golf club, aren't we? Right, so Caitlin's going to do 3 or 4 songs, and then I'm going to come back and we're going to talk a little bit about golf. Because I've had some balls knocked at me today. What? No, Ian managed to nearly hit me in the face with his balls. A ball with his ball. Which of course has happened to me before, but never by somebody quite so young. There was something about 4, I don't know, I didn't remember. That's not what they normally shout. Whatever. Are you ready, Caitlin? Can somebody help me move the screen so we can see her? Oh, there you go. Don't fight, boys.